I'm not. We're talking about these bees, these giant bees. Here's what triggers giant honeybees to do the wave, and they do the wave, and it's super cool. They got a video of it? Yes. All right, so first things first, let's watch the bees do the wave. Pretty cool stuff. It's obviously it's some sort of signaling that we're doing here, but let's learn about it. You guys want to learn about it with me and why it happens? It's called the shimmer. Let's see. This picture says giant honeybees form open nests covered by other materials and shimmer when some predators come near. A study is revealing new details about what sets the bees in motion. Giant honeybees send waves rippling across their open nest by flipping their abdomens upwards in coordination, a sight that approaching predators seem to shy away from. A new study is revealing details about what triggers the behavior known as shimmering. That shimmering is strongest when the bees are shown a dark object that moves against a light background under bright ambient light. Researchers report in September's Journal of Experimental Biology that the experimental setup stimulates animals such as hornets, one of the bee's main predators, flying against the bright sky, and shows what visual cues set off the behavior, the researchers say. The behavior is intriguing as this is possibly one way in which a species of animal communicates with another to warn they are capable of defending themselves, says Kavitha Kannan, a neurobiologist at the University of Konstanz in Germany, who was not involved in the study. Giant honeybees, including Apis dorsata, physically form open nests uncovered by other materials in areas like tree branches and window ledges. In the new study, the research worked with a dorsata nest in roof rafters. Standing near the hive, behavioral ecologist Sanjesh Vijayan moved circular cardboard pieces of different sizes in shades of gray and black against a gray and black background. The bees shimmered when the objects moved against the gray backdrop, but did not when the contrast was flipped. That's probably because the black on gray setup resembled a natural predator or a natural condition, says Sanjesh, who goes by his first name, as is common in many parts of southern India. These are open nesting colonies, so they are always exposed to the bright sky. The team observed little shimmering during the dim twilight periods or dawn and dusk, since shimmering is a response meant to perceived by a predator or other unwelcome visitors, such as a bee from another colony. The researchers think that the other defensive behaviors might be at play during the dim conditions. We also think that shimmering is a specialized response towards hornets because it's not really been reported in cases of birds. It's not really been reported in cases of birds attacking or birds flying past these colonies. Sajesh says birds instead elicit a mass stinging response. Yeah, that's more what we expect as mammals too. That could be because approaching birds loom comparatively large in the bee's visual field, and at that point, the bee's attitude may be, let's not take any more chances, just sting, Sajesh says. In both hives, shimmering completely vanishes when the bees were presented with a smallest object. In this case, a circle 4 centimeters in diameter. The results suggest that there is a minimum size threshold that triggers the ripples. Shimmering getting ahead of myself here. Shimmering strengths do not wane even when the bees were exposed to an artificial setup repeatedly. Perhaps because it's advantageous to stay vigilant against predators like hornets that make persistent attacks. How exactly the bees perceive the objects in the study is not yet known. They could be actually seeing the objects moving, or they could be responding to a reduction in their visual field, Sujesh says. The research plans to explore that question further. They are also designing experiments with LED screens to tweak the background colors and patterns and objects and shapes to figure out what types of shapes and even motions might matter to the bees. I always thought shimmering was super cool. Let's watch the shimmer video one more time so we can appreciate what's going on here. Let's rewatch that. We got time. Give us a nice pulse of abdomens. Oh, it's reminding me of doing like the wave at a football game. Anyway, it's kind of a short episode today, but that's been our Hive Science. We are looking at giant bee shimmering. Now, what have we done today? We went and looked through the history of giant centipedes in the New World, prominently focusing on the Ozark region, which constitutes the homeland of my favorite cryptid, which is the Ozark giant centipede. Doesn't get enough spotlight because it's not as sensational as the rest, but an 18-inch centipede in the Ozarks is super cool to me. Then we had young Earth creation as presented by Raw Matt, making a case for dualism in the soul. I was not convinced. I don't think my audience was either. Maybe they were. And then finally we wrapped up with, yes, the shimmering bees. And that is all I had on the docket this morning. Are there any other questions or concerns before I say goodbye? Is there any other questions or concerns? Because that's how I end my calls when I talk to doctors and stuff at work. My neighbor has a bottle brush bush that's a haven for honeybees and hummingbirds. Good, yeah. They need something to eat. They're hungry. You're in Arkansas, Reverb Twang, a native of Arkansas. We have to pretend bugs are dumb, or else we couldn't drive cars or use bug spray. Yeah. Are they figuring out how they communicate with one hive to another? Yeah, there was some mention about them suggesting this might be a response to bees from other colonies, and there may be a shimmer response to that, but mostly they're thinking it's in response to hornets, which do pose one of the biggest problems to any bee colony. Let's see here, Jason. I saw that in Blanco, Texas, when someone cut down a tree with a hive inside. The bees didn't attack anyone. They just all left at once, and it provided shade. Yeah, bees aren't super aggressive for the most part. Hornets are. Yeah, you don't mess with a hornet. I just went to Monroe, Oklahoma today on the Vulcan. Fun show today. Thank you, Dee. Thank you for popping in, Misha the Law. Good to see you, girl. Reverb Twang's been in here. Native Atheist. We had some Killed by Bigfoot. Lots of new people popped in here towards the end of the show. Kind of reluctant to end it with all you beautiful folks coming in here to see the bees and giant bees are a thing. They're about thumb size. They're not super huge, but they are giant as far as bees are concerned. But yes, thank you so much for tuning in to Live from the Hive this Saturday.